that first half. I guess what was going wrong and what did you guys change?
Was that a A&B question? You got it, because I'm. Yeah, for us to have 10 turnovers at halftime, it's uncharacteristic of us. I think we were just rushing a little bit. They're obviously long on the defensive side of the floor, so stuff that we're used to getting. I think, we ran into a little bit of trouble, and you saw that with our turnovers. But in the second half, we adjusted well, and I think we did a much better job. We finished with 13, so we only had 3 in the second half. So I think we did a good job adjusting.
Definitely. And then a question from Sabrina, who's not here right now. She wanted to know if you changed your hair at halftime due to superstition or what was going on with that.
Yeah, those will never come back ever again. Space runs are gone. Only walk-ins only.
Jackie Young, you had, Kelsey Plum is usually like the penetrator. You follow along with that. That was your job. It seemed like it was your job to kind of get the offense in and also with the dribble penetration. How did you kind of fill out the game and get to the place where you were with the leading the points?
Yeah, I just tried to, be aggressive from the start, get downhill. Early in the game, they're going under. I wasn't reading it right. And so then we just made a few adjustments. I talked to Tyler on the bench, and I just really tried to get downhill, and so KP usually does that for us, and then we feed off of her, but she wasn't here today, so we just tried to, pick up the slack.
This question's for Alicia. So when you're in that corner and that ball is swinging around the perimeter the way that it does because it's coming to you, what is going through your mind before you even take the shot? And happy birthday, by the way.
Oh, thank you. What's going through my mind is be ready to shoot. This team everybody facilitates really well. So at any moment you have to be ready to be a threat. Becky preaches that every day in practice, especially in games. She's like, make sure you're a threat. Everything is, any cuts we make, any pick and rolls we have, everything is active. So obviously playing with them a little bit now, I know kind of the rhythm of it. And so just being ready to shoot.
This question is for Ms. Clark. The effort that you put in on the defensive ends, this is 3 games in a row. I've noticed the efforts that you put in on defense. What's with your pride? We saw you guys held Erica. You contained her in the second half as well. What pride do you take in your defense personally to kind of attack and contain such players?
That's kind of how I built my identity and create, a role for myself in this league, being a defensive leader and being big on the defensive side of the floor. The way I study my opponents, the way I study, teams, it's not by accident. I know what these players in this league want to do. I know where they're least effective. I know their go-tos, stuff like that. And so it's every night just making sure that when I'm out there, that I'm making their shots tough. These are the best players in the world. Nobody's going to go not score any points, you know what I mean? But my job is to make sure that the shots that they take are tough. And so that's what I bring, whether I'm starting or coming from the bench, whatever it is, that's something I definitely take pride in.
Take one more from the room here, and then Matt Walter, you're on deck.
All right. Alicia, you kind of just
Sorry.
You kind of actually just talked about it, but you talk about knowing these different players' tendencies here in the league. But I want to just know what your approach is like when you have to guard Enrique on one play, and obviously that's a shifty perimeter scorer. Then the next time down, the way that everything shakes out, now you have Natasha Howard. I'm just wondering, how do you kind of approach that matchup?
Yeah, and that was because I was going to field whatever question came next to Jackie, but since you called me by name. It goes back to the studying, right? Like every game, I know the players I'm going to probably guard, the stuff that I get, that I ask for from our coaches when it comes to just things I like to study. And so knowing that I'm going to probably be on these players, I make sure that I'm studying what they like to do. I'm watching clips. I'm watching certain actions just to make sure that I'm ready. And so, like I said, my versatility is one of my strengths, and I take pride in that as well. And so they're going to hit some, they're going to score because, again, this is the best league in the world with the best players in the world. But, just being ready night in and night out to know who my matchups are and just really studying and taking that approach, a few days before games.
Yeah.
Hi, lady. This is for either of you. I just want to know, did Becky give another one of her halftime speeches today about the defense and what you guys changed in the second half? Because defensively, you were almost a completely different team in the second half than you were in the first half?
Yeah, I think, the biggest thing was our turnovers. We had a lot of turnovers in the first half. And so, yeah, she got on us a little bit at halftime. And we just knew we had to tighten up in the second half. We weren't playing aces basketball. And so just starting that third quarter, we just had to, be a little bit more aggressive on defense and get stops.
One more real quick. Jackie, I know you know Enrique so well. How much do you just relish that matchup and getting a chance to go after your former teammate?
Yeah, it's fun getting to play against her. She's a great player, a great scorer. And so, we knew she was going to come out here and play her game. And so it's always fun seeing her. Haven't seen her in a minute. And so we look forward to these matchups every year.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.
Steak and only game?
Obviously a tale of two halves. It's not always a bad thing to walk into a fight and get punched. That's how the game goes, and you got to be able to take it. And I thought, we came in, as my former boss would say, tiptoe into a bar fight. Can't do that. And so we responded well. I thought our physicality, our defense, obviously, we looked like the worst defensive team in the first half and then one of the best in the second half. So, we're in the process right now. We're down a man, but it's next warming up. And so for us, it doesn't matter who it is. We all have to walk into the gym intent and intentional on playing defense. So we actually were very fortunate to win the game. They beat us in a lot of areas, but down the stretch, I thought we were able to get stops when we needed them.
Becky, 10 turnovers in the first half, 3 in the second half. Just what changed from a ball security standpoint for you?
We stopped throwing it to the other team. It's that simple. Playing in a crowd, forcing things that weren't there. The ball was sticking. We looked like we hadn't played offense in like 2 months tonight. So I thought I give credit to their defense, kind of taking us out of things and being disruptive. And then on the reverse side, like I said, we weren't playing with any kind of dynamic movements. So lots of things we can fix. And hopefully we have better attention to detail going into Dallas, because it's going to be another fight.
You guys held Enrique scoreless in that second half. She entered today as the second leading scorer in the league. What was the job that you guys were trying to do against her, and what did you really like about the second half?
Obviously, we're just trying to be disruptive with her, make every touch difficult, every shot difficult. Obviously, when you do that, you spread your offense a little bit thin. Natasha Howard, we got to do a better job on her. We made some adjustments in the post late game that I think helped us rebound a little bit better. It's always a team effort, and we just wanted a crowd and bodies around Enrique every time she had the ball.
a lot has been made of the halftime conversations that you've had with your team. However, could you speak about the adversity, how your team has responded to the adversity, and maybe how you're feeling about their composure, especially in the second half of games when they're being challenged like tonight?
Well, I mean, I thought tonight was a lot of both. I thought they played well, played assertive, played aggressively on both sides of the ball in the first half, and we played very passive, like, we were just going to show up and win. The first 5 minutes, I think we had 4 or 5 turnovers, just not locked in, not ready to go. There's no other way to put it. And then, we come in at halftime and like I tell them, I'm like, I don't even yell in my real life. Like, ask my kids, I'm not a yeller. I get very quiet and they're like, we haven't seen you get quiet when you get mad. I'm like, I can't. I have to communicate with you guys. But, I 51-31. And it's all right here. All starts here. And we might miss shots, make shots, whatever, but don't get beat here and here. Don't let that happen. And so, due to form, they always kind of respond. And we show them where we can get better. Like, there's one thing for me to say it, and then there's another thing for you to like see it. And it hits different when you can actually see it. So, a lot of times at halftime, they get, like I thought it was up, but I wasn't, and it's different when they can see it. And then they kind of go out there and get better on their own. We tell them what to do, but they got to put the grunt and the heart and the focus and the effort behind it.
Becky, we kind of talked last week about how the adversity, kind of relaying about the adversity. You had mentioned you kind of want this group to see a little bit more adversity because it seemed like not that everything was given to them, but that you kind of want to see them, how they responded. The fact that things didn't really shape up as well as they did in the first quarter, did you kind of like that situation and how they responded?
I do, in a weird way. Like, I don't like giving up 51, but I like it not being easy because they gave us nothing easy tonight. Like, we had to go take it. And again, the lock-in factor from the jump ball, but I don't mind us getting punched in the mouth a little bit. I don't mind a fight. What I'm concerned with is how we respond. Like, it shouldn't be easy. It should be hard, actually. And when you have those moments of hard, you can choose to, kind of go off in your own direction or choose to come together and fight together because, you're much stronger together. And that's one thing that this group has really become good at, is being together. But like I said, the first half, we just weren't there offensively or defensively. And once we came out in the second half, I think there was a different level of focus, a different level of attention to detail. And, Plum, here's the thing, Plum is a huge deal to us. Plum, offensively and defensively, does some things that not any of our other players do. She's fast. She's feisty. She would have been at everybody. She would have been doing all the yelling anyways for me. But she's that ball, person that can get underneath the ball and be a pest. And we kind of we played a very big lineup tonight, which we haven't seen a lot of. It has a lot of strengths to it. But then also, Plum is that person that can blow by her defender, get downhill, and get paint and spray threes. We earned everything tonight, and hopefully she's getting better. But we had a collective group, but it was a grind. It was a grinded out, ugly win. But I don't mind those.
Coach, just talk about Alicia Clark's veteran leadership on the defensive end, a conversation we don't have too often, but the plus that she is for your team with her veteran role as a defensive player, what she brings to this team for you.
You can see the defensive skill set, obviously, that she has. She's always locked in. She takes her defense personal, which is a great attribute. But her voice also, she's somebody who's talking all the time defensively. And if there's things that we could improve on, communication, as basic as that is one of them. I thought we missed some very basic assignments tonight. We have a system in place. We know exactly what we're supposed to be doing in these scenarios, and we just drop the ball on so many scenarios. Well, what happens, it becomes a snowball effect. And you can have a snowball effect in a good way or a snowball effect in a bad way, both offensively and defensively. There's always a why to something happening. And so she gives a voice a lot of times to the why something is happening. And it's just nice to have that from somebody other than a coach. And then, you'd have to ask her. I haven't asked her yet, but she's darn near ambidextrous, like finishing in the paint. It doesn't matter right, left. Her footwork is impeccable in the post. So she was huge tonight. And defensively, just up in people's space all night, a pest. And so she was a big, obviously, help for us tonight.
We got one more in the room, and then go to the Zoom and close it out with Matt and then Nikias.
Becky, you actually kind of just talked about KP right now, but you talked about what was missing in terms of basketball, the X's and O's. But we talk a lot about her mentality, right? It actually earned her a nickname. I'm wondering, when you look at the dynamic of your group, when you looked at them prior to the game, kind of when she's not in that locker room, what is the dynamic of the group? Does it change?
A little bit. She's somebody that has presence, but we still have some big characters in there, some big personalities. But she's different. She's different. Like out, and I'm not just talking with our group. She's different kind of than any other athlete I've actually ever seen, male or female. She's just cut from a different cloth. So we miss her presence. We kind of had to win differently. Like it was a lot, you didn't see the fluidity as much. And a lot of the reason why the fluidity happens is she gets downhill. She's fast. People are terrified of her three, so they close out. So she gets to attack a live ball closeout and gets downhill. And when you bring congestion, she's gotten very good at rim reads and kicking out and spraying and finding and shooter. She's become a very willing passer. And so where Chelsea does a lot in pick and roll, she does a lot off closeouts. And so it's different, but the combination of the two of them, a lot of times, you got to game plan and prepare for a lot of different things. But she has a very specific skill set that we value. That being said, I thought Chelsea and Jackie, they were phenomenal tonight on both ends of the ball. We've been talking a lot about KP, but those two, Jackie and Chelsea, I thought really imposed their will on the game. If I was going to say impact on both ends, those two left their fingerprint all over.
Matt, and then Nikias close us out.
Hey, Becky, I wanted to ask, you talked a lot about your team's composure and just seeing them grow, but in that third quarter, you guys made that comeback to tie the game, and then they went on a 10-0 run. Just talk about the veteranship and just the leadership you have in your group to not let that 10-0 run after you've done all the way to come back to tie the game, just to keep fighting, even though that's when a lot of teams would have folded, saying we gave it our best and we weren't able to complete the comeback.
Oh, you have a lot of pride in there. So that's a good starting point. People are making runs. A lot of times I kind of evaluate what's happening, not necessarily just the score, but are we getting good shots or bad shots? Are they getting good shots or bad shots? Are we turning over? Kind of a little bit more in the why, but it's hard when you're behind because you battle back and you have to have some things go your way. And then it's even harder to get through that because you have these multiple possessions of good stops, and then we kind of had multiple possessions of like mistakes. So when we're compounding mistakes, that's really when I want to stop and get their attention. But sometimes the runs, it just depends on what's happening out there, whether I feel we need to take one or not. But like I said, they respond. It got to the second half where, they were talking before I get in the huddle and they're saying what I was going to say. So when they're self-correcting like that, it's a really good sign in communicating with each other before I even, set foot in the huddle.
Nikias, last question.
All right. Hi, Coach. Between Alicia Clark, Chelsea Gray, and now Jackie Young a little bit more this year, you have a trio of perimeter players that you can draw post plays for. How much of a luxury is it to be able to invert your offense and put pressure on defenses inside like that, especially on a night where you're missing Kelsey Plum?
Well, it just really allows us to put a lot of pressure on their defense. Getting that ball, excuse me, inside to where you can get rim pressure, either from cutting, hard posts up, even when we don't get the ball into those posts or try to go. We were trying to exploit some matchups tonight, definitely, for sure, probably a little bit more than regularly. But AC, Jackie, even Chelsea, to a certain degree, just putting them down in the post. They're big and they're crafty and they're a load down there at the guard position. We had basically 3 big guards on there. There's different things. It's obviously nice to have a extensive tool belt to where, if you want to go here, you can go here. You can manipulate different matchups and different looks and things that you're trying to do in order to exploit maybe what we perceive as weaknesses out of the defense.
Thank you.
Thank you.